Here's the photo of the politicians who didn't receive a single cent from Daniel Vercano. Many members of the Workers' Party won't be able to show these images, considering that many of them are in it up to their necks, folks. Nothing better than a popular artist, known throughout all of Brazil, to talk about who President Bolsonaro really is. Latino gave an interview. Look, it was wonderful. Spontaneous, he never received a cent from President Bolsonaro. Never came asking President Bolsonaro for Rouanet funding. Never received anything. Just sincere friendship. There are many facts that I'm going to show here, but let's start with this one. This is the photo. Politicians who did not receive a single cent from Daniel Vercano. Can you see it there? Guys, look, we can be proud that we've always been on the right side of history. Fighting for what is right, what is just, what is honest, is really worth it. This man's cause is mine, yours, and every decent citizen's. And what's most interesting today is that Flavio gave us a little demonstration, right? It's one of those moments when we saw President Bolsonaro. We really missed that, right, Flavio? As Alex said here, he could challenge Lula to do the same thing. This is Flavio arriving in Rio Grande do Sul, where he is right now, giving... I'll show the footage. It's a tremendous feeling, right? And here, as you can see, President Flavio, right? Just like President Bolsonaro, it really reminded me.
He's just like his father, even his smile.
He's just like his father. That's Francisco speaking. Francisco Melo.
A great person.
What could we... Thank you.
He's a unifier. A unifier. Why doesn't Lula show these same images, right? We only see him walking back and forth. Closed events. Closed, and there's no way to fool anyone anymore. Not that thing about Gringolo here. Look, Flavio, right? Is he there? In Rio Grande do Sul, at Piuc in Porto Alegre, left-wing activists tried to boo Flavio, but it didn't work out. Right-wing youths shouted, "Lula is a thief," causing things to spiral. Let's look at this now.
And then...
So then, this group of university activists was there talking, and Flavio showed up, the place was packed, a huge audience, let's go, and then, you know what's cool? That you see the campaign, people showing Flavio arriving at the airport, going to the venue, and then once he's there. You're not like Lula, who only shows his image speaking into the microphone and all, in front of those paid PT supporters. Here, no one was paid to attend. There weren't any democracy buses, there was nothing like that. People going on their own. It's beautiful. And then Flavio said this. Lula is a product. It's past its expiration date. Senator, candidate, and future president of the nation, Flavio Bolsonaro stated that Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva will not be able to get re-elected. Fact. According to him, the left faces a big problem in the race for the presidency because they would only have Lula. I think the ones who have a problem are not the right. The ones who have a problem are the left. They only have one candidate. And it's terrible. It's expired merchandise, a worn-out product, which is Lula. And there's no one who can replace him, said the senator. And future president. I already call him president. When discussing the presidential race and mentioning names like Ronaldo Caiado, Romeo Zema, or Rebelo, Flavio said he's comfortable with right-wing competition and doesn't believe his political camp will fragment. For him, all the potential candidates have the same main goal: to prevent a new PT government. It's a suggestion. I think Flavio will pay attention to it, depending on what happens. Depending on what happens. Ronaldo Caiado could be a justice minister for Flavio. He would really be a very good choice. Because people say that Goiás is a safe state. It's a safe state. We know there's no chance. There's a way. Here, all of Brazil has great affection for President Bolsonaro. Everyone knows the injustices that happened. He was supposed to be our president now. And now he's backing Flavio. Already in his second term, he would back Flavio. Now, Bolsonaro was supposed to be president. But we know everything Alexandre de Moraes did. Silencing, censoring, oppressing, doing all kinds of awful things. But that's not a problem. No problem. The Brazilian people saw people's true colors. And I told you about Latino. Guys, he gave such a wonderful, such a beautiful interview that it's really moving. President Bolsonaro is everything we always talk about here. No beating around the bush, nothing like that. It's simplicity, humility, spontaneity. And tomorrow we'll have, here in our studios, President Bolsonaro's brother, Renato Bolsonaro, will be here with us. I'm very happy, very glad to have this privilege of welcoming the president's brother. Everything is set. We're extremely happy. I'm very excited. I can't even think about it, or I get emotional. Let's listen to Latino here.
So when we arrived, he said he told the president I was coming for coffee, and the president wanted to meet me and take a picture. Then I looked at him and said, man, that's crazy. I can't link my brand, my name to any political party because that could get me in trouble. I have an audience of all ages, from all walks of life. He said, no, man, but now there's no way. I already told him now he wants to meet you. I took the elevator up with him. At the table, he served bread with butter. He looked at me and said, hey, Latino, you're one of us. You eat bread with butter too? Okay. Then I looked and said, of course, President, let's go. I really like it. I like toasted bread and all that. And he was watching CNN, right, at the time he was watching. And the guys were criticizing him because of COVID, right? The guy was getting bashed 24 hours a day. I looked at him and said, are you seeing that? I'm a good guy, suffering, in a dark room, getting whipped every day. That's what's happening to me. And then I looked at that scene, man. I looked and thought, man, this is crazy. Then I started to notice, I'm a very observant guy, and I started to notice details about the president. I started noticing the watch he wore, the socks full of lint, a tie that looked like it came from 25th of March. His watch is a Casio from 1960, and I thought, this guy is a minimalist. This guy isn't like other politicians who start stealing and fixing up their homes. I saw his old shoes and socks like my grandfather's, full of lint, and thought, he's really simple. That was my first connection with him. I liked how he talked about our situation, saying it would all pass and I'd be back on stage. I stayed there. He even joked with Braga Neto, saying he'd never danced Bundalele and didn't know what it was. He has a funny way about him.
Can you imagine President Bolsonaro coming up to Braga Neto, Colonel Braga Neto, Braga Neto?
Oh,
Hey, Braga Neto. Aren't you going to dance the Bundalele, Braga Neto? That's it. Oh, guys. I really miss President Bolsonaro. Damn, man. He's really missed. He's really missed.
He caught my attention because he reminds me of my grandfather, the way he jokes around, his roughness and grumpiness. I even told him, President, you have my grandfather's personality. I started waiting for my chance to have that moment with him, but at that point, it was fine. He's a politician who doesn't try to please artists. Up to that point, I thought Lula was tired of trying to please me, and yet here he is, right? Anyway, so that was the first moment. And then, man, the second moment came. I was in Brasilia, and I've always been a very political guy. Even though I'm playful and outgoing, I've always had a lot of friends in politics, you know? And I started talking with some people, and they said, come here, so tell me, is the president corrupt? Does he like to get something on the side? Then I started to realize that it was unanimous. I said, Tino, if you talk about anything like that in here, man, they might kick you out. No, it's just that I've always been curious to know, you know, who we're supporting, who we're embracing, why we're supporting them, how we're supporting them. It was unanimous. Fabio Faria even displayed a Rolex from the Sheikh, which he returned.
Check out this story here. Check out this story.
So I looked at the Rolex and thought, man, he can't sell it to me. Then he said, told me to give it back. Tino, check this out. How am I supposed to talk to the Sheikh now that I have to return this watch? I looked at the Rolex all encrusted. I thought, how much must this cost? I said, man, I have no idea, but I'm going to have to give it back. The president told me to return it. He doesn't want to owe anyone anything. That's his personality. There you go. I admired the guy again. Then came the third time I was with him at a steakhouse in Brasilia. I was sitting at the table. Check this out. With the CCOM team, me, Andre Souza, and others. He arrives casually. I say, Mr. President, I'm here with you. He says, no, stay there. Don't worry. I like to serve myself. Then he went over to eat, grabbed his tray, and started serving himself. I looked at Joe, who was my producer, and said, man, get your butt up now and let's go. Look at this. The president, we were waiting. The president said he was going to serve us. I said, man, for God's sake, the president is over there at the buffet and we're sitting here. Joe, get up, get up, get up. So we went over there. And there I started noticing the little details of his behavior. And then I began to admire him.
Thank you.
Impa.
Hey, Latino gave a wonderful interview on Radio Metropolitana and really opened up. Because we need these stories. Because there are many people who still don't know this man's heart. That's exactly why I like showing videos like this. We have to show people. We have to... By showing facts like this. Bolsonaro is not the villain that those wicked people always tried to paint him as. I've been covering President Bolsonaro here for nearly 10 years. Next year will mark 10 years that I've been making videos about President Bolsonaro since 2017. Since 2017. Next year will mark 10 years. 10 years. And this man has a heart that we can't put into words how good and kind he is. That's obvious. Everyone has their own way. Like Latino said, sometimes he's a bit rough and all, but he has a huge heart. I had to delete a lot of videos here. Just here on YouTube, I have over 12,000 videos. And that's because I had to delete a lot of them here. Due to intense persecution I faced. But we always kept going. You know, 12,000 videos. I think I know President Bolsonaro well. Even though I've only been with him twice to take a picture. Tomorrow I'll be with one of his relatives, his brother. Brother? So, my friends, we have to pass it on. Alright? Flavio winning. We're gonna be able to bring this man back. And I miss him so much, I really do. Man, oh my God. I'm so anxious to see this, oh my God. His happiness is our happiness. That's a fact. Share this video a lot. Hit the like button. Come be part of our family. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. I'll be back tomorrow with lots of news and information. And God willing, we'll be able to reach the man and talk to him. We're going to tell all the stories about President Bolsonaro, about Flavio. Everything will be here on the channel, all right? I'll be back tomorrow.